Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Richard Courtney de Castro. I'm your host for the Speak Your Mind show. I'm so happy to be back with you. I was away for a short while, and I'm back in the territory. And it's such a nice feeling to be back in the territory. Of course, this show is your show. This is the people's show. And I will try my best this evening to engage our viewers and ask the hard questions and also provide some information about some of the things that are happening in our territory. Our territory is a territory of great importance to not only the people who live here, but people who use the territory abroad and people who visit here from time to time. So we'll be touching on some of the current issues, and we'll be looking at some of them. One of the first issues I would like to talk about is the traffic. I think we have to remind everyone to be more courteous on the road, obey the signs that are put up for our safety, and to be. I heard someone talking about it today, and it rung a bell in my ear. To be offensive rather than defensive. In sports, when you're offensive, it means that you're going to prevent the other person from scoring in your goal. And I think similarly in the traffic, if you're offensive, it means that you're ready to prevent some negative thing from happening. And courtesy is something. I mean, I see situations where I personally think that the police and the traffic department and the various taxi associations should be able to deal with. But be it as it may, I think all of us need to, ask for changes to come about, that we respect the traffic a bit more and prevent some of the unnecessary collisions that we are seeing on a regular basis. I haven't seen the statistics yet for the year, but I'm sure if you had to see them, you'd be astounded to see that we have such a large amount of accidents, and some of them are, in my opinion, very avoidable situations. Just if we would just wait that extra minute. We're only a small territory, 20-something square miles, and if you try to get from one end to the other, if it takes you 7 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, it's not going to. You can't shave that much off of the time. It's not that big a place to get from A to B. So let us be a little bit more courteous and respect other drivers. Respect the left-hand drive rule. When you're on the left-hand drive, you have the right of way. If you have to come over on the right-hand side, you have to wait until it's clear to do that. And I know the people in traffic try their best, but we the people have to support that philosophy anyway, that we have to abide by the laws that are there to govern us. As up on the screen, it's an open show, and we're going to tackle a number of topics, but I'm going to throw a few out, and then we're going to put the numbers up there, and we're going to be in the community, trying to engage persons to speak their mind and to dialogue with me on these issues. The airport issue is a very important issue as well. There's a lot of discussion going on about that. There's an arrival tax that persons have to pay, and there's also some information around about the possible realignment of the existing runway. Excuse me. I think this is this is an effort probably to argument the position for airlift, or the lack of airlift that we're having, which is impacting negatively on our tourism sector. I've also seen recently that the Premier have called for some discussion on making some regulations that would synchronize the other airlines that service Puerto Rico and St. Thomas and the ferry companies, so that there's a smoother transition from the airplane to the ferry and to our destination. I think that's a great move that would definitely impact on the tourism sector in a positive way, in my humble opinion. I have one text. Let me see if I could read that text and see what it says. Yeah, so, give condolences to Faiz Tolon's family. Okay, well, that's a condolence that goes out to Faiz Tolon's family. I'm sure I'll hear more about that. And in these times that we're seeing a number of instances that call for us to be very mindful that families need support, and especially in times of bereavement. This week was we saw the police department celebrating the time in our community and talking about their accomplishments and launching the Crime Stoppers. That's a good program, I think, and I think it's off to a good start. Seems to have some new input, and I think new input is always welcome. A new idea to an old philosophy usually can point it in a new direction. So I am hopeful that this will help. We're having a serious problem with crime, and I think we have to look at a multi-sector approach. In other words, I think we have to do all that we can to try and solve the problem. We have to look at the reason for the crime. We have to look at the persons who are being caught up in the crime. We have to look at a number of things. I don't think it's a single aspect in crime that we can look at. We have to look at it from a multi-sector point of view, and try to engage as many people in the community as possible. I have another text. Let me see what the text reads real quick. I have not had any sleep for months due to these motorbikes. But that's an unfortunate situation. I think that is an area that we need to look at as well. And as I was saying, we have a number of laws and a number of situations that we as the community have to, I think, take ownership for and document. Document may sound ridiculous, but I think it's something that works. I've seen a number of instances where if there was no documentation, there could be no correction of a situation, and sometimes we have to go that extra length and document what is happening just so that we can get the help that is possible out there. I'm a person who rely on the digital format a lot. So I would recommend whatever you do, try to get it in a digital format and try to see if you can take it from the level where it's at. If we're speaking about a situation, for example, with the noise, document the noise, document the time, the incident, and report it. Don't just text me and say that you can't sleep for months about noise, because there are avenues that you can do as well. I know the media is powerful, and I know by me saying it here on air, someone must be listening that there's a lot of noise going on. But at the same time, if you document it exactly when it happened, where you were when it happened, and that kind of stuff, that gives law enforcement something to work with. We have three texts that came in. Good night. Why after 8 water goes in Puzzle Estate? Okay, I'm hoping that the people that should be listening will be listening to this. I am not sure why the water is going. It could be that they're having problems and they're not reported. By the way, I'm one of those people who advocate that or utility companies, when they're having problems, they need to let us know what the problem is, if they can. And it also helps with public relations. If you have your customer and you're thinking about your customer and the needs of your customer, keeping in touch with your customer is very important. And today we have so many ways how you can keep in touch with your customer. There's text, there's call, there's email, there's so many ways, right? When you think about the Customs Act, do you feel that the merchants will pass the savings on to the customers? The Customs Act. I'm one of those people who believe that we have to try whatever we can in these hard economic times to try to pass savings on to the consumer. However, we have seen two or three that I can think of real quickly. One is the hurricane shutters exemption, and my problem with the hurricane shutters exemption is that the way the law is, the regulation for customs is written, it has to be something made out of wood, and we've gone past that scenario so long. And for example, if you had to bring in wind guard windows, which are made out of glass and aluminum, you wouldn't qualify. Although they can withstand up to 150 miles an hour wind, you would not qualify for the exemption because it's not made out of wood. Things like that, and there are ways, to fix some of these things that we need to look at. The other exemption is the exemption for computers. What is a computer? In today's world, a computer is not what a computer used to be when that legislation was passed. So you find that if you bring in a printer doesn't qualify for the exemption. If you bring in certain computers, they don't qualify because of the name or the way it is used. So I think there's a challenge there. And the overall question that the person that text asks is whether or not that savings is passed on to the consumer. And I don't think it is being policed, or should I say regulated properly enough for the savings to be passed on, because we all have the internet and you can go online and check and you can see what these things cost in other jurisdictions, and when you compare it to what it costs, sometimes you see 300-400% markup, and that in my opinion is not passing the savings that the government is giving to the merchants onto the consumer. And I think we as a people need to monitor this more to ensure that when our government provide something for us, that we receive it. Not only that it's provided, but that we receive it. I have a few more texts here. Let me see if I could get to them real quick. Good night. Good to see you back. Can you touch bases on some little issues? I asked some questions. Did you guys get any follow-up? Any follow-up on what's going on there? Thanks. No, I don't think we got any follow-up on what's going on, but I'll check there. I'll check to see if there's any follow-up. Sam, I will debate you on the airport issue and convince you or anyone else that Anegada is better for the airport. First, Beef Island needs a bigger terminal building, and there is not enough space for a new terminal and parking. Well, I'm glad to hear someone texting something that would speak about size and functional, functional qualities, because I am of the opinion that before we invest 5, 10, 15, 30 million, we should have this dialogue with the people. So it's good to have a start. Courtney, the motorbike noise happens every day and night. I call the police. I don't know what to do. Well, in a situation like that where the noise is happening all the time, I think this is a situation where we need to engage not only the police, but everyone, the citizens, everybody, and you may be living close to a street where this activity is happening, and you need to have a live talk with, the powers that be, and make it come to a confrontation. That's my opinion, because it's not going to stop. It's not going to change. Somebody text saying that the show needs Maduro. Why are we saying that we are short of nurses and we are terminating contracts? And most of them are top qualified nurses. Okay, that's definitely an issue for the hospital authority. We've known in the past, we've asked questions about the hospital authority, and we've even invited them to make comments. So I think that would be an area where they can definitely comment if what we're reading here in a text is true. If we're terminating people in high positions, I think it would be in their own public interest to inform the public of what they're doing, so that they can have the public on their side rather than having the public against them. I've seen something there myself that I must say is a good sign. I've seen some nurses return to the hospital, and they're working with the nurses that are there now. These are nurses who have retired already. I've seen them back there working with nurses there now, and to me that makes common sense. And I have told one of my colleagues the same thing should be happening with the police, where some of the retired guys probably can give insight into some of the things that the younger officers would need to know. So there's always a challenge to have new people on the job, but also to have some other people who can show continuity in the various departments. Good night. Speed bumps on Virgin Gorda need to mark out for visitors. Not only for visitors, for us as well, the people who live here, they need to be marked properly. And when we're talking about marking, I've seen some new marking on the Walter Francis Drive, which is welcomed. I have a call. We're going to go to the call. Yeah. Good evening. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm calling on a separate matter, and I guess this is the only way that I could reach a lot of parents in one shot.
Okay.
I would like to send out a challenge to parents who have students going to Elmore South High School to get a copy of that health or sexual education survey that those children had to take, the questionnaire.
Okay.
It is so graphic and disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And they informed us that only a certain age range of the children would have to take that questionnaire. And I understand it began from first form to fifth, when it should have only been third form to fifth. So now my 11-year-old child now knows that when two men have sex, what does do with what and who does do with what.
Mm.
He also now knows what rug munching means. I am his mother. I don't even know what rug munching means. Mm-hmm. It is a disgusting questionnaire for children so young. My child is 11 years old, and there was too much information run down his throat in one go. It is so terrible. I challenge any parent, go to the health ministry and ask them for a copy of that questionnaire and read those questions. They're asking the children questions like if they're sexually active, if they enjoy it, and things like that. I feel like just like how they informed us they were going to send out the questionnaire, we should have had a powwow with them before and see what a questionnaire was all about. It is too graphic. It is too graphic.
Mm-hmm.
It's for me, I talk to my son in stages. I know there are parents out there who don't talk at all, but I talk to my child in stages, and there's certain things at 11 that he don't need to know.
Okay.
He don't need to know what gay men do, because the definition for sexual intercourse is explicit. It tells you what body pad go with what body pad, depending on the type of relationship. It's too much, and they're telling you stripping is for the children and having sex younger and younger. Everybody ain't doing it.
Okay.
It was too much information One time.
And
I don't mind them asking the senior students, the fourth and the fifth farmers or the third farmers. But first and second farm should never be part of that. It got children in first farm 10 years old.
And your point is well taken as well, that it should have been discussed at the PTA meeting level with the families, because the school is run with the families. I have children that went to the school as well, so I am in agreement with you that something of this nature should have been discussed with the PTA.
Mr. DeCastro, if you are so fortunate to get a copy of that thing, 100 and something questions, the most things that an adult would be answering. You know, I know we have all kids that some of them are active, but all of them ain't active. And my child didn't need to know all that information that fast.
But you know, you're raising another issue as well. Do we have sex education in the schools?
We don't.
We don't, and we're asking we're asking a sexual survey, and we don't even have the sex education to tell them what is the correct way.
But Mr. DeCastro, you didn't need to know because they define certain terms for you. Okay. Like, for example, sexual intercourse. When a man puts his penis in another one's anus, when this put his that, when they too much information one time, it was like watching a porn video in writing.
Well,
and I want to know if parents realize how graphic this thing was.
Well,
when I read this thing, I almost flipped.
Well, I'm sure other parents will call about it, because we have about 1,400 students going to that school. So I'm sure other persons feel similar to the way you feel.
Well, I'll be listening. I hope those that are listening do their best to get a copy. Get a copy.
I hope all people will speak up too, though. I understand that you are speaking up, but some people, some of our people don't speak up at all. They just take everything and take everything for granted and say, well, that is what was done, and it's too late now, or that was the policy of the school, etc. But we all have rights. Our Constitution guarantees us a number of rights, and one of our rights is to question what happens to us on a daily basis. And especially the children, because if the adults don't look out for the children, who is going to look out for the children?
This is the thing. Yeah. And they don't seem to understand every household is not like that. Every household is not like that. I talk to my son in stages, when something happens, or if I feel it's time for him to know certain things, he knows. I tell him, I talk to him, I question him,
everyone doesn't develop at the same pace.
And I ask him about it, and he said, Mommy, I don't even understand what some of them things were saying to me. I don't understand what it was saying to me.
Well, anyway, thank you for your information. I hope some other persons would call and speak about it as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the point in the show where we're going to have to take a break for the sponsors that make this show possible. So we're going to take a break, and I'm going to be right back.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan-Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price plan from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with you to Speak Your Mind Show. And while we were having those commercials, I took the time to read the other texts that were there, and I'll get to them. I'll get to them right away. One of them that came in says residency status 5, 10, 20 years. They were wondering why there's no action on that. They're saying some people are here for less time than that and they got a residence, and there are people here who are here for like 20 years and they don't get any residence. Crime Stoppers and white collar and blue collar crime. The text that came in said, I hope that the Crime Stoppers will not only look at blue collar crime but also look at white collar crime. I am of that opinion as well. As a matter of fact, I think that when the law enforcement put out statistics, they should put out statistics to say how many of what race and what nationality people were affected by this, that, or the other. I mean, we don't get that type of statistic that would tell us whether or not we're only targeting one group of persons, to go through a criminal justice system. Work permit. Someone talked about a work permit situation, and they said in a positive way that Honorable Dr. Pickering is looking into that, but I want him also to look into the residency issue. I think they're two different things handled through two different parts of government, but I guess they could still be looked at. We need gas price control. Honorable Smith, help please. That's another text that came in. A text came in saying that they want me back at Public Works, but I don't know why someone would send that. Anyway, a text came in saying we need Andrew back at education. Another text came in saying children having sex from age 7. Then another text came in that says government BUPA insurance need revisiting. So we had quite a number of texts, and I see some more coming in now while I'm speaking. Reminds me while I was reading some of those texts though, that we're still waiting on the census 2010. We're hoping that we could get the census information, because a number of these things that we talk about in our territory related to numbers, and we need to hear from the government what these numbers are. If you're going to build a new school, you need to know if you have 20,000 new students, or if it's necessary. And one of the ways of getting that kind of statistical information is through the census. And the census was conducted in 2010, and we're now in 2012, and we really want to know what's happening. When are we going to know? A draft or a first run of the census, something. We need to know what's happening in this area. The gas price control issue, I think that's a topical issue. I have seen that we're having some fluctuations right now in the price of gas on the world market, and sooner or later it's going to affect us. Not to mention the fact that some activities in the U.S. Virgin Islands, we've had some serious layoffs in St. Thomas and in St. Croix. We had nurses laid off. We had workers laid off over in St. Croix, a large amount of workers laid off. So all these things are going to affect our own economy in this territory. So we need to be mindful, and we need to pay attention to what's going on and be vigilant. And one time I said to be vigilant, and someone said, "Well, what you mean by that? Be vigilant means you're going to pay special attention to what's happening, and also to inform your fellow colleagues of what's happening, and try to keep abreast with all the current information, and make sure that we're making the right decisions at the right time." We have a couple more texts. Let me see if I could get to them quickly and see if I could get it out. I want to big up Honorable Pickering for making sure that people are informed of their work permit status. Good job, Doc, but don't forget we who apply for residence and not hearing anything for years. And I think most government departments have something called a charter, and the charter is with the people of the Virgin Islands. And in that charter, it says most of them. The ones I know of are quite some years now, but most of them that I knew about said something like they would answer a letter within so many days, not years, not months. So again, we the people must do our own due diligence, follow up document. I keep on saying that all night because it's true. We can't just allow people to ignore us. We can't just allow people to disrespect themselves. I have a text that came in. There's no sex education in school. Children are having sex in the school. There are more sexual active students than adults or married couples. It's okay to make such a bold statement, but at the same time, we as a community, I think we shouldn't be saying that. We should be saying what we're going to do about it and what we should do about it. Good night. Why arrears still on your water bill every month? That's a good observation, Texer. I've noticed something similar myself, and I think it's something that should be corrected. And I don't know the exact situation, but I'll come back to that. Take a call. Yes. Good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah. Good night, Courtney.
Good night.
How are you?
I'm fine.
All right, I'm being bold here. I'm calling from the 9th District.
Okay.
I think on the last show, I raised an issue, and it concerns me greatly. It's in connection with the airport and Virgin Gorda.
Okay.
I can remember clearly we went through this whole struggle with having the airport reopened and the airport operational. Now the time has come, when the time allocated to our government and our institution to get our house in order or the airport will be closed. I am not hearing anything from the people we put to represent us. And the time is close. Are we now saying that our airport will be closed again? Then our administrators need to come forward and debate this thing and let our people know. I am passionate when it comes to the 9th District because I reside there within. And this would be an inconvenience to me. I operate a business and I need to go to Puerto Rico to shop quickly for emergency. And if you take the airport away from us, and then we have to catch a boat to go to Beef Island to catch a flight, that is going backward. Again, I want to ask the 5 representatives, or the 4, the at-large and the district representative, what is our position when it comes to this airport? What is going to happen when the time comes close? I see no action, no activity indicating that the airport is being upgraded. Please, this again is a passionate reminder to our administrators and the people concerned. I want to bring their attention that the time is coming close. I know that. And we need to make decisions, and we need to be bold. We need to come forward and discuss these things with our people. Thank you very much for that time.
Carla, before you go away, though, let me ask you, give me some more information. When is the date that the airport has to be in compliance before it's closed?
I cannot be.
Well, I mean, is it April or is it August? That's what I meant.
Before August.
Before August.
Close becoming.
Okay.
You know how to be very situated. You always have a little rumor here and a little rumor there.
Yes.
But this is not good enough.
Yes.
We elect the administration who we figure it's time now will be straightforward to us and come and make decisions with us,
yes,
whether it's in our interest or not. We need to know because people's livelihood depends on that. I'm not saying we don't have options that we could entertain for airlift from sea or what, but the airport is imperative, especially to the businesses,
yes,
especially to the businesses, even to the hotel industry. So I am asking, this is a appeal from the hearts of my people who I'm talked to, visit, live with, and see every day. We are concerned and we need to know what's going to happen when the deadline given by ASSI has become what will happen. This is a special appeal to administration. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right there. We someone is asking for an appeal. We want to ensure that everyone understands the situation where ASSI is asking for some changes to be made at the airport in Virgin Gorda, and unless those changes are made, we can come to a crisis. I said we can come to a crisis again. And the last time we were in this situation where we came to a crisis, the airport was closed. So I understand the caller. We want to ensure that that would not happen again, since it would impact negatively on the tourism sector. And we are already in a recession and a terrible economic time, and we don't want it to go any further, without taking the necessary steps to prevent things from happening. So I agree with the caller. We should hear before August what is happening and how we're going to correct these measures, if at all we can correct the measures. So I have a couple of texts as well. I'll try and get to them. It's like, all those St. Thomas people that are from here coming good to look work, so they need to stop issuing work permits. Well, I've heard the Minister for Natural Resources and Labor himself making references to the whole issue of work permits and not only work permits but employment in general. So I am hopeful that your comment, that the person that texted, and I'm hopeful that the minister will be taking steps in that to ensure that is taken care of as well. Where is our 9th district representative? We have a call. Yeah, good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please. This is a live show. Sorry if you got disconnected. I tried my best, but it seemed like you got disconnected. Where is our 9th district representative? No one is hearing about him. I'm hoping that that is not the case. I'm sure the 9th district representative would touch bases with his people as he sees so fit. We should be mindful that the 9th district representative has served this country for most of his life. Good evening. You're free speaking, man. Go ahead, please.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Well, I'm just calling in based on tourism.
Right.
Okay, based on tourism here in the DVA, right? Mm-hmm. We have to realize that we are unique, right? And the tourist people come to the Caribbean islands because we are unique. They don't want to come choke up because the large wall out there is choke up with all these skyscrapers. Mm-hmm. They come here to the DVI. Mm-hmm. Where they could relax on it. Now, if you're going to put up mega structures and all in 5-star hotels, you're going to kill the tourism thing. Why not use natural resources here in the DVI and try to be unique?
Mm-hmm. I hear your point of view. Could I argument it a bit?
Yeah, sure.
I want to argument it a bit to say that we have a territory that's very vast. We have from, I like to speak of, as our late Chief Minister used to say, from Anegada to Joshua Dyke. And there's a lot of variety from the one place to the next, from Anegada to Joshua Dyke. And also within each island in the territory, there's also a lot of diversity. So maybe you could have some areas built up and some areas left pristine, untouched. But I
understand not to cut you, right? I understand, right? Mm-hmm. I understand they want to do some kind of thing to Anegada.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think everything destroying building these mega structures and all these things. It was killing it. These people come, I have to remember what these people like, you know. It's not about what we like. It's about what they are coming to the BVI for. They are leaving their outside world. Because when you look at Europe and them places there, they have all kind of mega structures that we never see here in the BVI. But they're leaving that to come to we local shores. Because they want a feeling of what we have to offer here in the BVI that they don't have up there. It's just peace of mind.
Okay.
So if you're going to be building all these mega, you're going to choke the BVI, you're going to just choke it. You're going to just, I don't know. If you understand what I mean.
No, I understand what you mean. You know, there's in my field, there's a lot of talk about green development and sustainable development and ecotourism, which is just exactly what you were speaking about, doing things in a way that you don't spoil the beauty of the place.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you don't distract or prevent the people who are coming here in the first place from coming because of what we have done. So I understand what you're saying. So I think it's important that we have this type of dialogue on all levels, on a tourism level, on the government level, even on a community level. Because we as a community in the various communities should be able to have some decision in what happens to our community, whether it's for development, for tourism, or development for the betterment of us.
That's true. And also, like, I must big up Joe Sayers because when you go there, you see a lot of cottages and stuff like that. People have to remember, right, and know that 5-star hotel doesn't mean you got to have a mega structure. It could mean you using a cottage and putting antique stuff in it, something to boost it up.
Okay. But definitely our tourism so far has been a mix. We invite people with mega yachts. We invite tourists that come on a cruise ship. We invite people that fly their own jets and come to our shores. So there's a number of different people that come here for different reasons. And I think, as one of my tourism buddies always said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. In other words, if you only cater to one type of tourist, then when that one tourist is not coming, we wouldn't have the taxi drivers wouldn't have anyone to drive, the people in the restaurants wouldn't have anyone to serve, etc., etc. So we have to have a good mix in order to keep our tourism product alive and well.
Okay, well, you have a good night and hope you enjoy your night.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Yeah, viewers, at this point in the show, we're being asked to make a break for those sponsors who make the show possible. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back with you.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price plan from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the Speak Your Mind show. And before I left, I was looking at one of the texts that came in, and I think it was someone was asking me where they can get a copy of the where can I get a copy of the 6 questions the high school children had, and I'm not sure where you can get it. I think you probably have to get it from the high school. I will try myself to see if I could get a copy of it, but if it's something that was given to the students, more than likely the administration at the high school would have that type of information. And just like I was discussing with one of the parents, though, I feel that that type of information should have been shared with the Parent-Teacher Association, prior to it, being given to the student, especially since we don't have any sex education programs at the school, which are long overdue. This is 2012, and as one of the texting, a lot of children are having sex at an early age, so it's probably appropriate that they be exposed to education about what happens in sex, rather than hearing it from the wrong person, or having people do things to them that is not good because of the lack of education. They should know what all those things are. We have a call, or we had a call, but please call back, because the call just flashed on and then it flashed off. And also, I'll take the call and then I'll go to my guest. Good evening. You've reached Speaking Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
I do listen to your talk show most times, and tonight I feel like I do have to call in. I've been thinking about this for quite some time. Over here in the 9th district, we have a lot of problems over here, and I hope the ministers that are elected for the Office of Labor, Communication and Work are listening to these shows, because they have a lot of great concern and a lot of hurt. In the workplaces, you have so much different challenges that you have to go through on a day-to-day basis. And every time you leave your house in the morning, asking God for strength to go and give you the strength to do what you have to do for that day. When you reach to work, it's a different chaos when you reach there. They bring up all kind of different laws and all kind of changes, unexpected. Nobody comes to meet with you, and at the end of the day, they don't even count your work valuable, because when they bring in other people from us to come in and work, and I'm not referring to the Caribbean, I'm talking about those from Europe and UK and all those other states and so. They would bring in, and I want to know, if the government is stop giving work permits, how come there are so many white people coming in these hotels? And I'm wondering, if they have permits for these work that they're bringing in these people to do, and if they have the correct amount of time to do the work that they bring them in here to do. They advertise such big fancy names for these jobs positions. And when they come here, it's the same black people they meet in the hotel have to train half of them when they come here, because they don't know the elbow from the toe. And then they still treat you and pressure you who they come meet in the job. So hard. If we could have done better, a lot of us wouldn't even get up to go to work. And they get away with these different things in management all the time. And some of them would even make you feel intimidated or threatened that if you go to the leader to complain, you're not going to get your problem solved. And this is from all the hotels in the 9th district. A lot of garbage is going on in there. And they're mistreating their staff a lot. And they do all these things and get away with it. And when you go and make a complaint, you're wondering who you're really going to make this complaint to. Because at the end of the day, it does not get no satisfaction, and nothing is being done about these situations.
Well, Carla, I hear your complaint, and I understand that some of that has been happening with previous shows that we had, where people call in from one of the hotels over there as well. So this isn't anything new, but I think what we have to do is we have to look at a new way of dealing with a number of these issues. and we're going to have to put our heads together and come up with solutions. I have been saying from earlier in the show, document, and it has to go further than that. We have to take responsibility, and you as a person, me as a person, have to encourage more of our people to become more responsive to these situations when they happen. Don't just say, well, I had a bad day today. If someone tramples on your rights, take it as what it is and document it and seek redress. Because when these things accumulate and keep on accumulating, then they become a crisis.
Well, it's already a crisis now. One of the other things that I want to say to the expatriates that are working in these hotels, do not feel because they are not from here that you don't have no rights. You need to take a stand, because if you look around, you don't have much people to stand up to take no fight for you. So you're supposed to unite and stand up for what is right, stand up for what is good. If you know you're working and you're doing an honest day work and they're still mistreating you on the job, you have to stand up for what you believe in. You have to take your fight. I am not afraid to stand up. I ain't afraid of nobody, but I would do it with respect. And if I have the right sources of guide, I'm not afraid to take a chance and challenge anybody that is an authority with respect. But we cannot do it if we are disorganized and we are not together as a body in the workplace.
That's true. That's very true.
So this is for all that who are listening, and you're out there in the workplace, no matter what establishment you're in. Do not look for a native, because you wouldn't find much of them. And even though you may want to try to keep a low profile because then you don't want nobody to send you home, nobody cannot fire you from your job if you have a right to stand up to fight for your rights. Everybody's supposed to defend their rights. And too long, these hotels management over in the 9th district are misusing and abusing the staff, employees, and they're doing those who are there for whether 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. And when they bring in the people from outside, they could find to pay them $35 a day, $80 a day, $100 and something a day, and they have you working at a low income. And if you got to stand up for what is right, they want to give you a letter and send you home like if you don't deserve nothing, treating you worse than the dog. Please do what you know is right. Take a stand, speak out, because then all of us, it kind of benefit when we come together as a body. We would fall and divide when we keep segregating ourselves. I would like to also say, in these different establishments, some of the people that they put in these positions, they themselves cannot do nothing much. And when these big men come in, one time I didn't actually hear the talk show for myself, but I heard some co-workers speaking about it, right? And I know I heard something came on the radio where our honorable premier,
yes,
the new NDP premier had made a big statement of bringing up one of these big men who come in and running these hotels and saying the people of the 9th district should be glad for this man to come and open this hotel because they have work. And if he didn't come in and step in time, the owner would have closed it down. I want to say to the radio airwaves tonight, that is the biggest life on the pit of hell because he's treating people worse than dogs in the hotel. So don't be fooled. And the honorable premier needs to come back and apologize to the people in the 9th district that's working at that hotel because he needs to know that that man wearing more than one hat and he can change his words and speak smoother than oil, so he mustn't be fooled. And the Rotary Club had a nerve to give him such a high award. What happened to the other businessmen that were been here years ago and been walking along with the hotel companies for a long time doing business in the BVI? How much of them they had recognized to give such a award? I'm madly upset about that.
All right, my dear.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much for your input. Well, let me introduce my co-host Sam. I was taking a call, but I need to bring you on board, Sam.
Yeah.
We got some calls from the 9th District. Quite a few of them. One of them that speaks about the possible closure of the airport. Another one speaking about the tourism sector and the whole work environment. So introduce yourself.
Well,
come on board.
good night, and welcome back again. I'm back. I want to say to that caller that was just on the phone, I think she is speaking from the heart. There's some serious problem. I think one of the biggest problems we've had in this country for a long time is that all the leaders of the country has sent out a message to potential investors that it's okay to do whatever you want to do once you're in.
Yeah.
And it's the same mentality to anybody, really. All you have to do is get in the country and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can treat people how you want. But I want to tell that lady, inside the labor code, they have a policy that address your rights as to how you should be treated, how to address issues of mistreatment on the workplace. So it's important that while you're organizing and gathering your data and your information, positioning yourself in case you have to go to the government or go to labor or even bring a lawsuit of discrimination against any employer, that you fully understand your rights, and that way you don't misguide yourself. So it's important. You know, you're on the right track. There are a lot of employers in this country that they're abusing the system. A lot of the hotels are pretty much, they're living free.
Yeah.
They're living free. I think we need to approach all hoteliers, investors. I heard at one time there was a comment made by one of the hotels on Tortola. He was addressing one of the ministers about the concern and the treatment of some of the employees, and that person said, well, we'll just close up shop and move somewhere else. I don't think so. You ain't moving nowhere. The BVI, we have to realize that the BVI offers a kind of incentive, a natural setting, the kind of ambience people need in order to grow and develop their businesses, especially in the tourist industry. So when I hear those kind of comments and remarks, I get highly offended that even the ministers in charge don't take any kind of step towards that. I mean, people like that in this country that are, exhibiting that kind of behavior, you can get rid of them because their employer will find somebody else to replace them. And the reason that people, try to do business in the BVI because, again, the environment is conducive to good business. We have the product that a lot of people are looking for, and don't ever feel like, because one closed up shop, there's nobody else waiting. Somebody else is waiting. Somebody else is in the wing. Somebody's actually trying to get in right now. We just don't have enough room for all of who wants to get in. So, that message has to be clear. It also has to go with labor. I mean, one of the biggest issues the minister's been having right now, and he's been very honest about it. He's between a rock and a hard place, the Minister for Natural Resources and Labor, because he found a lot of issues within the Labor Department, governing how work permits are issued and why people are given work permit, temporary work permit, people utilizing this loophole to get folks in that they want, and then when they're here, it's hard to get rid of them because they have more value to the company than the company, has value to itself. So I think, somebody said to the labor minister the other day, if there's rules, enforce them.
Exactly.
I feel
so too.
Yeah, and people coming in on work permit, I think it's need to be clear. It's a contract.
Yes.
You're on a contract. It's not inhumane to deny that contract. It's not inhumane to tell somebody, well, you've had an opportunity for 2 years, and now there's 3 or 4 locals who are highly qualified and able and capable of taking that job. They need work.
Okay, sorry to stop you, Sam, but we have a call that's coming in, so I'll take it. Good evening, you're free speaking mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. Again, I want to applaud the last 2 callers who called from the 9th District because they're actually repeating points that I made in regards to the hotelier who got up and said, not the hotelier, but our premier got up and said that this hotel was better off than it was some years ago before the current owner inherited it. And I asked for an apology to the people who work for that institution. So I want to again emphasize, I want to congratulate that caller on a comment which echoed my sentiment. However, the point I want to make here, is that we have 5 representatives in this district. The Minister of Education is an at-large representative. The Minister of Labor is an at-large representative. The Premier is an at-large representative. And we do have a representative elected from the
Just one quick correction, Carla. The Minister of Labor is the 7th district representative.
Sorry, it stands to be corrected, yes.
No problem.
However, he was the only minister who had the courage to bring or come to the people of the 9th district and discuss any related issues. I want to congratulate him for that. And I am now appealing to the other ministers, especially the Premier, who we are demanding an apology from, to come to our people. We are your people. We voted you there. We put you there to represent us. You need to come to us. The Minister of Education also need to come to us. All of the large representatives need to come to us. You are representing us. We have major issues within our community, and we need you now more than ever. That's my appeal, and thanks for the time.
Thank you, Carla. Well, Sam, I think that message went out loud and clear. The people of the 9th district need their representatives to dialogue with them right away. There are pressing issues, and they need that dialogue.
Well, I think Courtney, again, I totally respect what the caller is saying, and the caller's obviously calling from the 9th district.
Yes.
But we have 9 districts within the territory, and all of them have pressing issues. I think Virgin Gorda, because it exhibits so many opportunities and have a lot of hotels, a lot of job opportunities up there, why a lot of the 9th district folks are calling. I think a lot of other people should call too and represent their voices, their concerns and so forth. But I want to say that I think one of the we got a call. Let's hit that call real quick.
Yeah. Good evening. Your free speaking mind. Go right ahead, please.
Good evening.
Yes. Good evening. Your free speaking mind.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I hope you don't mind me changing the subject, but I think we all know about the woman that was lost in East End last weekend.
Yes.
She went missing on Friday afternoon. They found her on Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
Now, she had Alzheimer's and that, but the actual search response was pretty despicable. Can I ask your opinion on this? Because she actually ended up dying from dehydration.
Well, I think the family issued a statement saying that they feel that the law enforcement did all they could. And
well, really? There was one of my relatives went out on the Sunday morning. They found her on the Sunday afternoon to search, and there was supposed to be a big search, and there was like 10 people there. There were no police, no firemen, no community, no nothing. Nobody seemed to care. But I don't know whether it was just a lack of communication or what. But I was wondering what you think about this. Should we have some sort of plan for these situations, like even if children go missing?
Of course, I agree with you. We should have plans in each of our communities. I have a slogan that I use all the time: know your community. You should know what is in your community. We should have ways of communicating in the community. We should know who a district representative is, the phone number, the email address, everything. And they are the people, in my opinion, who should be responsible for the coordination of all of these types of, not doing it themselves. Mackie, what I'm saying, not doing it themselves, but be responsible for the coordination and ensuring that things are put in place.
One of the things was that she went missing Friday afternoon,
Yes.
and because the news and everything didn't get out until Sunday,
Yes.
really to the general public, there were people who came forward and said, oh my God, we had somebody knocking on our door in the middle of the night, and we didn't want to answer the door and stuff.
But you could understand that as well, because we have a crime situation that is out of
I
control.
wouldn't answer my door either.
Okay.
But if they had known that there was this Alzheimer woman wandering around not knowing where she was and that. But I just think the lack of
response to the situation is pretty despicable.
Carla, I know that a text message went out. At least I know that for a fact. So some communication was being done. But at the same time, I think probably a more coordinated effort would probably have raised more concern. Like you said, if they had the fire department and police involvement, probably would have made a bigger impact. But I don't know the details of what exactly happened, and I guess we wouldn't know
Well, I do
that for a
because
while.
my daughter is actually the disaster coordinator for the tourist board.
Okay.
But there was nobody else from the disaster or anything there. I mean, you know, I just think that we should all feel a little sorry that we didn't do a big enough effort to save this woman's life.
Well,
Thank you.
the situation is very there though, because we also have some local people in that same situation that I know of, right? That have developed a certain level of Alzheimer's, and Sam, I feel similar to the way the caller feel as well. You know, that is a situation that could happen to other local people here as well. They could just wander off, and if they just wander off, and the family don't know that they wander off, they could be in danger.
Well, I want to give the people who are vigilant enough. I think there was a gentleman who remembered seeing this lady, thought it was strange when he finally heard the information. I think first off, the communication, even from the family, description, proper information as to what really happened. The information was so scattered. You know, when you first read about it, you heard that she was on top of Josiah's Bay Hill. It was confusing because then you heard she was in the beach. So people didn't know where to start from. But there were a number of people who were out there, so we have to give those people credit. And the fact of the matter is, she was found alive. You know, because people did go out and try to help. The tourist board, I know, they sent out a bunch of texts. They asked Lime to send out a lot of texts. Lime sent out texts to pretty much everybody who was on the Lime network. The police, the fire. They had people out there searching, but where do you start from? You know what I mean? So, you know, it is a little bit troubling, you know, that not a lot of people really took the time to really come out. But at the same time, you still have to give credit to the people that did come out, because a lot of people did, you know, give their time and effort, and she was found alive. It's just that the aftermath is what killed her. It wasn't the actual, you know, missing and so forth. So I hear what the caller's saying. I think, yes, I take your point. You know what I mean? It is a bit troubling that people are in need, but I think we should also look at other situations that happened within the country, and we had a similar reaction. So we can't just jump off the bandwagon because it's a tourist. We also have, just like you said, we have some of our own people sometimes go missing. I remember there was a gentleman down in Parkwood Pond, and nobody came out. And this was a guy who was known to have mental trouble. And pretty much nobody came out. So let's react the same way to everyone.
I agree.
Not just tourists. You know, you know, somebody said to me one day, you know, if we're going to talk about protecting the country for the tourists, we got to protect it for ourselves first. If we're going to develop it for tourism, we got to develop it for ourselves first.
Absolutely.
We have to first enjoy our ambience of our own territory and then share it with the rest of the world. So, I think the call is on point, but at the same time, let's give credit to those who did come out, because they did. I mean, the police went down in some very rough terrain. You can't blame anyone for the lady being missing. She had an issue, and people tried to help. So
not only that, but the area we're talking about is a big area.
It's huge.
It's huge. I mean,
if that guy didn't notice that lady walking down that road, and the fact that she was a white lady down a road where he'd never seen anybody white before, and this is an older gentleman who saw her, who remembers, called the cops or whoever and said, listen, I think I remember seeing this lady. Somebody else would have said, oh, you know, he don't know what he's talking about, but they followed up on it and was able to follow a track and found a lady, you know, in a situation that nobody wants to see that person in. I mean, I was so happy to know that she was found. So, you know, let's applaud the people also who went out and give their time.
Definitely. I agree.
But Courtney, again, back on the whole 9th District situation, I think again and again that there's some issues in this country and the labor minister he's starting to highlight a lot of those issues. And those issues you must address those issues one at a time. And we can't no longer sit around and say we can't offend a company in this country because he might pack up his doors and close his doors and go to another place. You can't do that. No, because every day, whether we force them out, some of them are leaving. Just open up the newspaper. You see all these companies that are being dissolved. Why? Because their business practices are bad. And when they dissolve and just close their own doors, they're putting us in a situation because we have unemployed people who are working for them. We have government revenues that are not being collected, and we have a bad name from these same companies that are scrupulously doing business in our country. So we can't just always sit down and think, oh, I can't offend this person, I can't offend that person, I can't offend this company. No, we have value, and that's the reason why they're here. They're here to do business in a country that provides a good environment for them to do business. So therefore, the people of this territory should benefit from any business coming into this country. We got to stop giving it away. You can't give away, water rights. You can't give away ferry service rights or water taxi rights, because somebody said, I'm going to put $1 billion worth of investment in your country. Well, guess what? It's not his own money. So you just look at a lot of development going on around the country, and when people are being mistreated, the government must stand up. We must have clear policies and to stand up for human rights, for the rights of employees. We can't no longer just go on and just think that it's okay. And that's what's happening. That's what's been happening for a long time in this country, and it has to stop. It has to stop now. So the people of the 9th District, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it's important. I wish other people would do the same thing too.
We got a couple of texts that came in. I can go to them though. It says, Mr. DeCastro, the illicit behavior of some of the children in our schools is embarrassing to say the least. Secondly, there are many common law unions going on with a number of schoolgirls in this little country. Why are the parents allowing this, and what are the authorities doing to correct it? That's a text that I think needs addressing. I think social development should really look into a number of these issues if they have those issues, and they should put measures in place to either deal with the parents or deal with the people who are taking advantage of the young girls.
Yeah, but Courtney, why not also make the same young girls accountable for their behavior? A 14-year-old knows exactly what she's doing. So why are we going to come down every single time on the parents? You're going to scrutinize the men. Yes, they know better. They're the adults in this situation. But my God, when are we going to say enough is enough? You're 12 years old, you're 13 years old, you're 15 years old, you know right from wrong. You're also encouraging this behavior. The kid that just shot those kids in the States, how old is he? He's 12 or 14 years old. You know what? 15 years old. You know what they're contemplating right now? Trying him as an adult. Because he's responsible enough to know the difference between right and wrong. So when are we going to step up and stop saying, oh, she's a young girl and she's underage and she doesn't know better? What do you mean she doesn't know better? We give her the responsibility to get up in the morning, get herself dressed, get to school on time, go learn her lesson, wait for me to pick you up, stay away from bad behavior, but yet we continue to say, it's okay, she's young, she doesn't know any better.
Sam, we're going to have to take a break for these sponsors that make the show possible. We're going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be right back with you.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price plan from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbvi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a wonderful show. We're back, and we were able to read some of the texts while we were on break. One of them that came in talked about the gas prices, and noticed that there has been an increase of about 40 cents on the price of gas, and the texter is asking whether or not that's on the stock that they have now, or if that is stock that just came in. In other words, we need to know if you're raising the price on the stock that you already have here, or this is new stock that has just come in. I think the gas companies need to be upfront with us and let us know. Give us a little bit more information about what's going on with the gas prices. We are also monitoring it on the international level. We're seeing a number of changes. And we're also asking the hard questions. Why, when the prices fall on the international market, they don't fall here? And I hear all kind of stories why. So I would like to know too. I want to know why we can't get a little gas relief when there's relief on the world market. And then when there's an increase on the world market, we definitely get the increase. So something isn't, I don't know. One texter texting said that slavery is still going on here. It's only that we have black masters.
Black slave owners.
Yeah. Then another one said a texter texting said they went through the school system here and working for government and they've been here for 17 years and they want to know why they can't get some kind of status. We have a call. We're going to go to the call. Good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello, good evening. I have a comment for Sam based on what he just said a while ago about the young girls need to take responsibilities for their action. I agree with you that the young girls do need to take responsibilities for their action in being involved with these much older men and all of that. However, nearly 75% of all personalities is formed basically by who we are influenced by, mostly our parents. A lot of these young girls kind of have almost no choice in the way that they behave based on what they're being exposed to by their own mothers who don't set examples for them. We no longer live in a society where you can sit and tell your kids, do as I say, not as I do. If you don't live by example, because children are now bold enough to say, but mommy, you said don't lie, but you lying all the time. And it's hard for a woman to be involved in many different affairs with, she could be with married men, she could be living with a man who she's not married to, and her daughter is seeing this. And this is permission to these young girls to in turn do the same thing. And some of these mothers, they behave like pigs. They would rather their daughter be with somebody who got money and who's shelling out money. So once they get what they need out of the situation, they ain't saying nothing at all. It's all fine and good with them. So the problem, as I do realize that we have a very bad youth problem here in the BVI and a number of issues, but nearly, and then people will get mad when I say it, but I'm going to stand by it till the day I die. 90% of it, the parents are responsible. Teenagers don't turn bad overnight. They're going to try you as little kids and keep trying till they get completely out of hand. You have to put your foot down, lay the law down, and have them to understand you are the law inside your house, so they respect you. Parents don't instill that healthy fear of themselves anymore. So these kids are doing whatever they want to do now.
Carla, you speak like a parent, and I like to hear you speak that way.
I am a parent, and my son understands that when what I say goes, that's how you have to be with them.
Yeah, but as you said, though, we're definitely having a lot of social issues, especially with younger persons, and we as a community need to, we need to have a serious dialogue about it, and we need to be honest, and we need to be serious about it. I totally agree with you.
Well, the parents not looking to be honest, and something that has severely hurt our society is someplace between 1985 and 1995, we became a very selfish society where we no longer care to be a community raising children, and you had people going towards taking it so far as going to the schools and want to fight the teachers for disciplining kids.
That's true.
That is where our problems start. You can't tell the teacher how to control her classroom as long as she didn't kill your child or he didn't get licked unruly for no reason. You shouldn't go in there and say anything, because when you go in there, you enter two things you do wrong. One, you interfere with that teacher's control of the classroom, and the next thing that you do wrong is you get your child labeled in the school system as a troublemaker, and they go pass on. When the teachers go in the staff room, they're going to discuss and say, don't say nothing to so and so son and so daughter, their mother and father is an idiot. And if you say anything to them, you're going to end up in trouble. And so nobody cares to do anything with your child after that. So they see them doing the wrong thing, they let them go. Because they know that you're going to come there and fight them when they're trying to do the right thing.
But Carl, I just want to say, I agree with you 300%. There is a social issue in this country that, you know, we have all fallen down. Let's put that up there. My only position is, again, I say punish everybody involved. I am saying that we are sending the wrong message every time, and we're talking about people now who know the difference between right and wrong. There is a problem at home. We know that. If a social worker sees that problem, you know, coming into the environment, or the school teacher sees that problem coming into the environment, A, they should have the protection of administration, the law, to intervene, and B, that student should be held accountable. In addition to punishing the parents in the system, you also have to hold those kids accountable, and that's our problem in this country, is that we now tell our kids that, hey, because of who you are and your circumstances, you know, it's okay, you go ahead, you go, we'll punish the other guy. And also, if you look at what's happening right now on an international scale, I remember last year, the last government signed some new human rights bill for the protection of women and children. That right there, if you look at what's happening internationally and right here, these kids know now that you can't do certain things to them, or you know, the law said that they have this right to do that, and even if they get in trouble, they should be forgiven. No, that's the wrong message we're sending all around. So therefore, not only the parents should be at fault, but the system itself should be held accountable. And the kids, last but not least, a young girl, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, know the difference between right and wrong. And if we ain't gonna hold them accountable for what they are also engaging themselves in, then, you know, don't just blame one side, blame all.
Well, let me ask you a question, Sam, and I agree with you with holding accountable, right? If we can't hold our own elected body accountable for nothing them do, how we are going to hold the littlest person accountable for what is going wrong in society? Because we have no accountability at nearly every level here in this country. People do what they want, they say what they want, and it's all spoken. I am the law, or this is how I do. You is my child, such and such. Everybody has an excuse for their own wrongdoing. We behaving like the Wild West here, and we wondering why things are getting so far out of hand. With no accountability at any level, you will always have problems within a society, and the accountability will not trickle down if it don't start at the head. If the head's sick, the body must be no good.
It's not that we can't hold our elected representative accountable, no. It's that BV Islanders, look at our history and our culture and our behavior. We have always been reactive to everything. We sit down, we let the politician tell us how fancy things can look if you only support them and vote for them. And we don't look at the reality of things. We think about ourselves. We're selfish people. We don't think about the community. And I want to address one thing that you said, and you're absolutely right. If you look at a time frame between the middle 80s all the way up to the almost 2000, we've had an explosion of people in this country who are not BV Islanders. Growing up as a young person, you had a sense of community because the population was small, everybody knew each other. Even if you were from someplace else, you grew up in a community where you knew people. You were able to communicate with them, you know the kids, you can have a relationship with their kids where you could discipline them and so forth. Today our society is more diverse. So we're becoming this diverse community that are actually becoming a segregated community. And you look at anywhere in the world, look at New York. People used to tell me how it's one of the greatest places, one of the biggest and best melting pot. It's not. It really isn't. It's one of the most segregated societies you can live in. And if you look at that, just take that now and look at the BVI on a much smaller scale. That's where we're coming now. We're becoming a segregated society. We're putting island people up against, and even within the island people community, you have those who are from St. Vincent Basin hole in one corner, Trinidad hole in one corner, Guyana hole in one corner. BVI Islanders can't hold any corners because we don't understand how to organize. All the white folks from England are hole in one corner, all the Canadians are hole in one corner, and all the Americans are hole in one corner. So then we become this segregated society, and everybody now is fighting for their rights. Because once you're inside the system, you have rights. And the politicians who are leading the charge, who are in charge now, are not saying, point blank, BVI Islanders have rights. And if you're in the BVI, you're here to live among us. You're here to abide by the rules and regulation. If you come in on a work permit, it's a contract. After that contract expires, if the contract say that there's nothing else for you to do, you have to leave, don't tell me it's inhumane to send somebody home when their contract expires. People who are in the country, whatever the rules are, and I totally understand where some people coming from now with this whole situation about I'm here 20 years, I'm here 30 years, and I haven't got my rights. First of all, what are your rights? At what time you're supposed to get those rights? And people should know that. So the government and the system have the responsibility to clearly state those policies. But once you understand those policies, you have to wait your turn. You understand? So the problem is we have a lot of issues. It's not just one. It's just not just two. There's a lot of issues. But we could counter those issues if we just stand firm. So until we get to that community-based behavior that we once had, and we'll never get there again, because again the population is becoming more diverse. The bigger the population becomes, the bigger your problem's going to be. They're going to be magnified because the population is larger. And everybody, every group, every set that you have that feel they have a voice within this community, going to start showing it. They're going to start speaking it. They're going to start representing it. Look at the Spanish community recently. They had a petition of almost 1,100 people when cable TV changed their signal. They got up in their protests.
Well, I agree with you, but let me tell you what the big reasons why that will never happen, and it's not something that's a BVI problem. It's not even something that's a Caribbean problem. You know what it is? It's a problem that has gone on from the existence of this actual people and us as the black race. Whether you call yourself black or you don't call yourself black, or African American, or Afro-Caribbean, or Afro-West Indian. You see, once your skin black, there is something innately in us where we don't know how to get together as a united body and move forward as a united body. And you touch on it and you say, we segregated even the you say the island people them have a bunch of different groups. The BVI Islanders can't come together, and you say the Canadians, the this, the that. Let me tell you something. It ain't just the Canadians. It's all anywhere you go. And I'm not trying to be racist, or I'm not saying anything that is racist, but you always find that when you put a certain black people together, we will forever be conquered by any other group that steps in. Why we divided amongst ourselves? We don't know how to stand together as a unit, and it's the oldest trick in the military book: divide and conquer, and we forever divided. That is the problem within the BVI society right now that is killing us more than anything else. We are too divided as a society. We no longer look at we no longer say, well, Eastern have a problem. When Eastern have a problem, only Eastern got a problem. But when Woolton and other places have problem, it's a Tatola problem. So we have to get away from that and actually start saying, if Eastern has a problem socially, then all of Tatola have a problem.
You're
if
correct.
Western have a problem, Capola have a problem.
Carla,
Some
yes.
have a problem, Capola have a problem, but we're not doing that, and that is what is killing us. And that's why, for lack of a better word to say, the way people them will forever come here, take over, the Syrian them will come here, take over, and the same island people who we keep calling bad will come here and take over, because they see our way forward through us who busy arguing.
Carla, you're so correct, but we have another caller on the line, so I have to defer for now, and we're gonna have to continue this dialogue. But I do agree with you that we're very divided, and we need to come together to solve not only the social problems but our own economic future.
I quite agree. All right, good evening.
All right, thank you. Sam, that call could have gone on forever. Good evening. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please. Good night. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to make a response about the lady who was missing in Josiah's Bay.
Okay.
Although I agree we can improve on the system for getting messages out in case of emergency, I believe it's unfair to label the search efforts as being despicable. The lady did not get any less response than anyone else who live here. And I think we need to improve on the system for everyone. And I'd like to applaud everyone who contributed in the search for the lady because she was found alive. Unfortunately, she didn't make it, and I want to give my sympathies to the family. And that's all.
Carla, before you go, I want to say, that's the same thing I said earlier. I totally applaud the people who came out. I think it was an effort on those who came out to show that people do care. And the fact that she was found alive, because somebody remembers seeing her down the road that they didn't expect to see somebody like that down that road. You got to applaud those people and give effort to those people who tried. Yes, the communication could have been a little bit better.
But it was not despicable.
No, it was not.
They did a good job.
Thank you. I totally agree.
Okay. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yes, Samuel. Well, you see, it's good to touch bases with the community and you get response back from the community as well.
Definitely.
One of the things we didn't touch on is the royal visit. We're having a royal visit where there's a royal person coming. I think it's on Monday, and they're going to be here for quite some time.
For what, 4 days?
For 4 days, yeah. And I've
you're going to be out? You're going to go out and see him and wave and say, hey, welcome, you know? What are you going to do?
Well, I was so happy when I heard a royal person was coming, because what we usually look forward to when these things happen is we look forward to the roads getting fixed.
Oh, we didn't get them fixed though.
We didn't.
Oh, there's no money.
We didn't get it. I was so excited. I was so excited, man, because I know usually all the buildings get painted up and, you know, the sidewalk gets swept, you know, and the place get a good cleaning.
Usually that's when they send money ahead of time to get those things done, huh?
Don't tell the public those kind of things, because we don't get any money from the UK, you know. It's years now we haven't gotten any money from the UK.
Absolutely.
We usually spend our own monies to do those kind of things. So it seemed like monies are not that available as they were in the past. So maybe that is why we haven't gotten those potholes fixed. Yeah. So I think
well, I must say though, Courtney, I saw some reflectors up on the hill going up Joe's Hill. Okay. All the way up to Rudy's Bar. Okay. So I see there's some effort.
Maybe that is the route that the royal visit is going
at night, huh?
To take. Okay. I don't know. I'm just you know, speaking aloud to you, because I would hope that, you know, we would have some improvement in some of these areas, but I think we could still manage for the time being until those improvements come around. And you know, we'll see. We'll wait and see. What happens there. I think most of our people are still happy to have royal persons come and visit us, though. I think it's good publicity.
Well, let's hope.
Good tourism publicity.
Let's hope
I am hoping.
Let's hope there was a big noise up in England. Yeah. You know, and people will follow.
We have a call. Yeah. Good evening. You're speaking mine. Go right ahead, please.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am calling with reference to what Sam said about the government. Should not be afraid to stand up to the companies and to speak out for the rights of the BVI landers.
Yes.
Now, I went for dinner last week to a restaurant in East End, and I was so horrified. This is a place that I go to often, and usually there's a waitress from Dominica and one from Guyana. When I went for dinner last week, there's a white bartender and a white waitress. So I inquired who they were. And I was told that they were the brother of the owner and the brother's girlfriend. And I am like, I mean, the government had a job fair the other day for the young people of the BVI who is not working.
Where some 400 people attended.
Yeah, you mean to tell me that there's nobody in the BVI who needs a job as a bartender and a waitress, or who cannot fill in those two positions that they have to import. And these are people who just arrived to the island recently. And the bartender is the worst martini I ever had in my life. He's obviously training on the job. You know, these are things, it's not fair, it's not right. How do they get a work permit?
Well, I don't know if you're aware of it, but there's some innovative ways of getting work permits. They have people here in our territory who get work permits for people. In other words, that is their job. They do all the paperwork and everything in order to facilitate work permits.
Yes, because the loopholes are there and they're not being closed.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. I just could not believe what I was seeing. I mean, Mrs. Parsons always have a word of saying that BB Islanders know how to use a broom and a mop. And I know BB Islanders can make a drink and can be a waiter or waitress as well.
Not only that, Carla, but how long does it take a company to train a waiter or a bartender?
Exactly. And I remember a couple of years ago, way back into the 80s, the government did have a hotel school where a lot of the young people went to the school to learn how to do waitressing, to learn how to cook, to learn how to bartend. And that is something that they can do very easily by connecting with one or two or three of the hotels and get the youngsters placed in these positions instead of bringing in people to do these jobs. I mean, that is...
Carla, all I can say, right? And I think it's Bermuda. Bermuda has some very strict policies on vehicles and ownership of land, work permit, who can establish residency. And Bermuda have one of the biggest GDPs anywhere in the Caribbean because they're not afraid to put measures in place. The bottom line is that for the past, I'm 41 years old, so I could say probably from, as far as I can remember, the past 20 to 25 years, we've had policies in this country that pretty much favor, the mistreatment of our people, favor, hoteliers, investors, and let's not kill them now.
That is correct.
But people,
that is correct.
People, we give away everything. And then in the interim, we say in those contracts, it's okay to do what you need to do to survive. In the meantime, when our people need help, we'll deal with them as they come. No, we have a minister now. Again, I applaud him for talking about some of the ills that he found in the system. But I heard somebody said, your policies should be number one. Your moral feelings about somebody here 7-8 years working for you or somebody else shouldn't be the law. If the law says you're on contract, when your contract up, you gotta go because there's 10 people waiting who could do that job. Those 10 people should be given an opportunity to get those jobs.
Exactly. And some of them don't need to get the contract in the first place. They can be held locally. Only in the BVI can you see this sort of things and these things what is going on only in the BVI.
That's right.
You take out one party, you put in another, and it's the same thing. Because I run a restaurant, I can import my relatives to work, and there's so many people here looking for work.
Well, just so you know, a little bit of background, I go there to that same restaurant to eat, and I love the food. I've never really have a martini because I stopped drinking, but just so you know, those same folks, they're nice people. Let me say that off the bat. That's my disclaimer so nobody can say I was mean to them. They're nice people. I think they're genuine people. But they also live in another Caribbean country that had a 7-year residency law. And after 7 years, they had to leave. And they found refuge in the BVI because all policies that all you got to do is get in the door, and anything you want to do, you can do it. Ain't nobody going to force nothing. And that's just look around you. Every single person in this country who's getting ahead ain't from the BVI, and they doing whatever they need to do to make it, and nobody's enforcing anything. When the police want to go and enforce cockfighting as illegal activity, they do that because their people or whoever it is are not involved. But the other things, you got people working on boats in this country who are illegal. They say they come in as friends. They sailing around here for 2, 3, 4 weeks, making big bucks, not paying any taxes or anything, and they're under the radar. And every chance they get, they downplaying the country. They talking bad about us. So the bottom line is we have value in the BVI, and until the politicians them realize that ain't nobody going to invest the time and effort and money and research and come and do a business in the BVI and just up and walk away from it when it's a profitable thing for them. So we have to stop playing up to that.
The department needs to investigate these work permits more deeply. Not because a farm comes into you and it's on your desk saying that Joe or Bobby Brown is coming in to do a specific job. That doesn't mean that that is a position that the person is going to be filling. And
Yes.
they need to investigate these permits properly.
You're correct. You're correct, Carla. But guess what? We're out of time.
Okay, thank you.
Next time, call earlier.
But we appreciate your call very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right, bye. Yeah, Sam, but we have to try and wrap up this show now. You know, we're under the clock, and we gotta push. We had a very good debate tonight. We talked about traffic. I tried to encourage everybody to be proactive with traffic. I tell them to be defensive, you know, and sorry, not to be defensive, but to be offensive, and try to avoid, you know, things from happening. You know, and give the other guy the benefit of the doubt. You know, stay on your side. If you know we drive on the left hand side and you see your side blocked, you know, wait your turn. You know, just common courtesy, right? And I said too that I saw a lot of things happening in traffic that. We have a police traffic department. We have the DMV. We have the taxi associations, and all. They need to get together and try and curb some of the illegal things that are happening. We shouldn't have to talk about that with all these different bodies that can work together and stop some of these things from happening. Talk about the airport issues, the arrival tax that we want to hear more about. I don't think that we should just bring these things on people like that without telling them in advance what's going to happen. You know, you shouldn't arrive at the airport and understand that you have to pay arrival tax. I think that's ridiculous in this day and age. The expansion of the airport, I've seen at least 2 drawings floating around that speak to possible realignment of the airport. I think if these things are going to happen, we need to have a proper dialogue with the people of the Virgin Islands and explain to the people what is going to happen, how much it's going to cost, how much disruption is going to generate, and what we will get at the end. What is going to be the end result? What we're going to get a better airport? We're going to get more airlift traffic? You know what are we going to be doing? Healthcare services, we understand that there have been a survey conducted at the Mustow High School where from Form 1 to 5 was surveyed, and some people say that they don't think it was an appropriate survey. However, I haven't seen the survey. I will endeavor to try to see the survey to see what it's all about. It seems to me like this survey might have been, in hindsight now, it might have been a good idea to discuss it with the Parent Teachers Association, especially since we don't have a sex education program in the high school. And I want to know why we don't have a sex education program in all the schools. Because I think it's important in 2012 that we start teaching people the right things to do rather than allowing them to fall, you know, by the wayside and get second and third hand information from various other people who may not be good intention in the first place. So I think it might be a good case now to look at the school system and provide a sex education program for the school kids. We got some calls from Virgin Gorda, the 9th district, right, talking about a possible closure of the airport and talking about the tourism sector and the problems they're having in the tourism sector. I raised the issue about the census 2010, 2012. Sam, we're still waiting on the census. We want to hear from the people. We want to know what is in the census. We want to know when we're going to get our copy of the census. We paid for it in 2010. And I think we should have. It's also important to make a number of decisions. Where a school should go or not go, or how many different types of new businesses. We have all that kind of stuff you get from a census. People who work with census information need that information. One of the things I wanted to raise, I didn't get a chance to raise, was the use of the cell phone to pay government bills. I'm going to come back to that because I see that as a way of breaking this news that the banks have around us right now in these Virgin Islands. If we allow those type of transactions to happen here, it would be a way for the ordinary people to be able to pay government bills and other bills if you're able to pay bills via your cell phone. And it's something that's new, that's happening in a number of other countries, and I would like to see it happen here. It would free up money. You don't have to have a bank account. Once you put money on your phone, you can pay a bill. And I think that we need to look into that, to see that we could get that for all people, so that it could stop these banks from putting a noose on our people's neck, and you can't get it. You have to go and get a letter from your employer. You have to have 3 pay stub and all kinds of stuff just to open an account. You don't have to do that to put money on your phone. You just put money on your phone and you have...
You got to bring tax return too for the U.S. banks.
Yeah. and all in all, we had a good show. Some people talked about accountability. We should have accountability from the top down. We talked a bit about a royal visit. I'm still hopeful, Sam. We still have maybe 48 hours to go. We might get those roads fixed just before Monday. But I'm that's me. I'm an optimist. I believe things could happen. And we had a number of texts, and a lot of them talked from a variety of things, from Crime Stoppers to work permits, gas prices, education system, a number of things. Bupa, the government insurance, and a number of things. And I think most persons were genuine in making a contribution to the show. And I must say we appreciate that 100%. We appreciate people dialoguing with us and trying to solve the problems that we have, because we have a lot of problems, and the short show is not enough time to even tackle most of the issues, but we would stand by trying our best to do what we can while we're here. And all in all, Sam, we had a wonderful show, and I'll give you a chance to make some last remarks, and then we're going to close the show.
Well, mine is short and sweet. I just want to say thank you, ladies and gentlemen, again for watching another episode of Speak Your Mind. Again, this is a show that gives you an opportunity to express yourself. I'm thankful for a lot of the calls that called in tonight. We had a spirited debate on different issues. But again, in order to have an effect on change, you must be vocal. Don't be afraid to be vocal. The politicians, when it's election time, they're very vocal. They're in front of your door, and people are saying that they can't see this person, they can't see that person. So don't be afraid. Be proactive. Go find them, call them up. A lot of them got Facebook pages and text messages and all this other stuff. So find out their contact information and contact them. But always be on top of the issues. The issues are in front of us every day, and we all are facing some dramatic issues. And we need representatives that are willing to stand up for truth, stand up for what's right. We got to stop playing games. We got to stop playing games with what's happening in people's lives here in this country. We're not trying to kill anybody. We're not trying to, deny anybody a fair opportunity. But the bottom line is that all people of this country, whether you're born and raised here or, you came in a long time ago, people of this country should be first, and then everybody else second. With that said, I don't really need to say much. Good night. Hope to see you guys again next week. Tune in. Great show.
Yeah, well, on that note, Sam, I'd say God bless these Virgin Islands and the people that live in it, and we'll see you again next week.